perfect. The spring
Why
is
did somebody
perfect.
say that?
All right, it's 6:30. Let's call the meeting to order. Could we have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Barnes,
Here?
Mrs. Rogers,
Here.
Mr. Roach,
Here.
Mrs. Barney,
Here.
Mr. Smith,
Here.
Solicitor Nicholas,
Here.
Solicitor Gannon,
Here.
Mr. Lennon,
Here.
Ms. Durig,
Here.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the April 15th, 2025 minutes. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Barnes,
Aye.
Mrs. Rogers,
Aye.
Mr. Roach,
Aye.
Mrs. Barney,
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Lennon, engineers report, please.
Okay, going to the monthly report. First item is the Village of Lawrence under the collection system contract. So we did have a field review with the contractor May 12th to address primarily restoration items. He was working on some of those complaint areas the week of May 16th. He still has work to do. And there are some outstanding complaints that are pretty vocal that we're dealing with. So I'm sure Mike's dealing with too. So we're keeping on the contractor as best we can to get this work completed. Under the treatment plant contract, on the treatment plant site, they're demobilized from that site, doing site cleanup, working on punch list items as operations staff identify items. We've been working with the contractor to get them addressed. So at the Teodori lift station, in the report, I have the update of the work they completed this month. The big update is they're starting up the pump station. They have the startup schedule for the first week of June. So starting up the pumps, the grinder, getting everything up and running, generator. So working towards the end of that project contract also. So they did submit partial payment number 23 in the amount of $283,956.70, and we recommend approval of that, and that's on the agenda. And same with Penvest payment request number 24 in the amount of $296,522.53, and that's on the agenda. We did attach those to the report. Under Traditions of America, they're working on the sanitary sewer for phases 6 and 7, but they're also working on stormwater work. They're jumping back and forth. So that work's kind of slow going right now, but no bond reduction request for consideration tonight. Silver Creek, after the adoption last month of some changes to the rules and regulations, they submitted plans with some modifications. We're reviewing those. We'll get the letter out this week. We received that last week. So. Steel Town Planned Residential Development, they did submit sanitary design plans and planning modules to Cecil for review, to the authority for review. And I believe tonight you're considering the developer pre-development agreement. Once that's executed, we'll initiate that review. So, Mount Pleasant Sewer System Southview area. So we did have a technical meeting with Mount Pleasant's engineer, Mike, and myself, just to talk about, it was on May 15th, to talk about technical items to proceed on that review. One thing that was discussed, Mount Pleasant, the engineer, he believed they executed the MOU and he was going to get a copy to us. So we don't have a copy yet. I followed up with him again today to see if he has a copy. So we're waiting for that. Once we have that, then we'll schedule another meeting with the solicitors, the authority, and I guess work a path forward and meet with them at least monthly, if not more, to move through this process quickly. So. Clifford Road, low-pressure sewer system extension. So we did do a cursory review of the plans they submitted for that grinder pump. That's for that grinder pump at 66 Clifford Road. We did have some discussion during committee meeting, some concerns that we need to further evaluate. So we tabled, after talking to the committee, further review until, again, they do a pre-developers agreement, escrow account, before we start doing detailed review and, I guess, go back to the committee before coming to the board with discussion items on this one. FLIR plan at Ridgeview, sewer evaluation, the CCTV contract. We did issue the ad to Mike and Shanna earlier. It was either today or yesterday. So that contract's ready for bidding. We're going to open bids before the next meeting. So next meeting we'll have bids in hand for consideration for award. And we're going to do a base bid for the FLIR plan at Ridgeview sewer evaluation. Then we'll have an ad alternate to do the interceptor. And so this will be CCTV, cleaning, getting everything cleaned out. And then see with the CCTV if there's repairs or whatever recommendations come from that contract. So, and all that will get incorporated into your key map. So we're working on a GIS system, which you didn't have before. So getting all those manholes GPS located, we'll have one of our environmental technicians out there when they do the CCTV work. He'll have a GPS unit, and we'll get all those shot. He'll do manhole physical inspection, so we'll have a pretty good key map started once we have that. And we also have the Lawrence system into the GIS map already, so.
And those, you sent that over today, that was already put out for advertisement because we already approved advertising. It will run May 27th and then again on June 2nd.
Okay. Miller's Run Lift Station, the emergency bypass outfall repair, we did submit the general permit application to DEP on May 12th. So those typically take 30 to 60 days. And once we have that, that'll be ready to bid pretty quickly. So Cherry Brook Lift Station improvements. So we're working on an updated scope reflecting what the grant award was and what you had budgeted for this year. One of the big items there is getting updated prices from the vendors. We're waiting on a couple vendors. Once we have that, we'll go over with Mike, but we did schedule a field survey to proceed early June. So I think it was the second week of June. We'll have the survey scheduled, and we'll coordinate that with Mike so we can get the design started. Under grants, if you flip over to page 4 at the bottom, so there's 2 grants. The 2025 Pennsylvania Small Water and Sewer Program, that application was filed for the Teodori Lift Station Industrial Park Upgrades Project. That one was approved last month. And then the second item is the 2025 CFA Watershed Restoration and Protection Program. We do have a resolution using the funding agency's template to request a amount of $300,000. And this is for the culvert on the driveway improvements. But it's for watershed restoration, so it'll be like stream restoration would be included also. And that's it. So I guess going to the agenda items, if you want to go through those, unless there's any questions.
So we have 4 submissions on grants that we're waiting to hear from in the fall.
Yes, so you have under the LSA, well, the first, so going to the table at the top of page 4, Washington County LSA, that one was awarded, and that's the first item. The next 2 items are the 2024 statewide LSA. We anticipate September, depending on when the state passes the budget, that they'll make in those grant awards. One was for Cherry Brook plant improvements, and one was for Lawrence Phase 2. The PA Small Water and Sewer, that was the one that was just filed. And they've been telling, the funding agency's been telling us that one should be awarded in the fall too, so that'll be a quicker turnaround in the LSA. And the last item is the resolution tonight for the Watershed Restoration Protection Program for that treatment plant stream improvements project.
Is there any feedback on the November submissions? Do we hear anything at all before fall?
The only questions we'll get are some technical questions, like if a percentage needs to be updated or stuff like that, but we haven't got any.
Nothing? Okay.
No, that's pretty atypical to get too much feedback other than questions.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, any questions? Okay, we'll move to the motions then. Under contract number 21-STP1, rebid Village of Lawrence Sewage Plant Treatment Plant, do we hear a motion to approve partial payment number 23 in the amount of $283,956.70?
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Barnes,
Aye.
Mrs. Rogers,
Aye.
Mr. Roach,
Aye.
Mrs. Barney,
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Regarding Penvest payment requisition, do I hear a motion to approve Penvest payment requisition number 24 in the amount of $296,522.53?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Barnes,
Aye.
Mrs. Rogers,
Aye.
Mr. Roach,
Aye.
Mrs. Barney,
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
And finally, do I hear a motion to approve resolution number 04-2025 to apply for the 2025 CFA Watershed Restoration and Protection Program in the amount of $300,000 for the Cherry Brook Sewage Treatment Plant Flooding Project?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Barnes,
Aye.
Mrs. Rogers,
Aye.
Mr. Roach,
Aye.
Mrs. Barney,
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
Mr. Nicholas, Solicitor's Report, please.
Okay, thank you. A few items to mention at the open meeting, and if I may, a request at the end of the agenda for a brief executive session for an update on CHJ litigation and Lawrence property acquisition. Just to mention, the Rules and Regs Committee did meet again. While we don't have a presentation tonight for any additional changes, that's a work in progress, and we met with the engineer. Roseanne was present as well, and I think we have a nice plan for presenting additional suggested changes. And for tonight's purposes, I know, Roseanne, unless you had any comments about what might be reported, I think more towards next meeting that we would have some updates.
Yeah.
So the Safety Committee didn't meet in between, but I guess we have a number of items that are to be commented on. I guess we need to do that between this meeting and next meeting. But I think the way we did it was originally presenting the safety manual with the idea that we presented a broad one that could be pared down, but I think there's some sediment to keep a lot of it in there. And so, again, unless there's any comment from anybody on the committee, I guess we would hope to have some more feedback on that at next meeting. Also on the liens and revivals, I talked to Shanna, and she's done a nice job of diarying the liens for revivals. They have to be revived every 20 years, and with one exception, I guess they're all on track to be diaried for, at some point, maybe next year, for 2026, 27, 28 time periods.
Yeah.
There was one old one that hadn't been revived that we suggest you just revive. You don't lose the lien, you just lose priority if somebody would raise it. And I think we're all on track now for diarying these things and making sure that they stay current. You may, this board, I don't know if would remember, but going back a number of years ago, I think Mr. Giannusso wanted to collect the total amount of the liens, and then subsequently the board dealt with that again. And I guess, as I understand it, the biggest section was Miller's Run. There's not that many of them that are left, right?
No, there's not.
Yeah, so
No.
they're kind of narrowing down. But as regards the Lawrence, there's a few things in executive session that I'd like to mention in that context. And unless there's any questions, that's all I needed to report publicly, just with the request for the two items for executive session.
Very
Thank
good. Thank you. Any questions? All right, thank you. Moving on to Mr. Zrench, oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Jurek for the Business Manager's Report.
All right. Your packets included the financial reports for March 2025. Any questions? Nope. All right. Mr. Turnley has started our 2024 audit. He is planning on having it completed before our June meeting. And then an update on the tap-in permits that we've gotten already for Lawrence. We've received approximately 45 tap-in permit applications. 18 permits have been issued, and there's 18 more that will be issued this Friday. And then there's around 5 that are being held due to waiting on drawings or other issues. And there's been a total of 5 that have been inspected.
How many connections do we anticipate out of Lawrence?
Is it
270.
Yeah.
That doesn't include phase 2.
It does or does not?
Does not.
That's just phase one.
Yeah, that's phase 1.
Okay, anything else?
And that's it for me.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
Mr. Zrenchek, Authority Manager's Report, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This evening, it'll be fairly brief. I reported last month that the Cherry Brook STP, the NPDES permit, it's still being reviewed. Nothing was required at this time, so there's no change with that. The Monaco wastewater treatment plant acquisition request, there's still no change. Until they get CCTV footage, that's just gonna be a carry item. The PennDOT maintenance bond for Georgetown Road, nobody has contacted me back, so there's no change there. I did speak briefly with the engineer. He was supposed to get back to me for the pickleball facility in item 4. He has not called me back, so there's no change there. The equalization tank pump at the Cherry Brook treatment plant that we approved last month has been ordered, 4 to 6 week lead time on the pump. Item 6, the flow equalization tank blower for the number 1 had a grinding noise and a shaft wobble. So we pulled it, sent it out, and the motor leads are damaged. They'll require repair. It would be the DE and ODE bearings are worn and need to be replaced. And the SK shiv bushing is cracked and would also require replacement. Based on this, it's not economically feasible to repair. You were looking at around $1,400 to repair. A new one plus freight was $1,800. The new motor was ordered. It's already installed and back in service. And that can be capitalized. Under new business, we have the Steeltown Residential Development, reviewed the pre-development agreement I sent over. They're ready to sign it once we approve it and return it with the escrow check so they can move forward with getting everything reviewed. I recommend approving signing the agreement. It's on the agenda this evening. The incumbency certificate that is on file with Wilmington Trust needs to be updated. The one that they currently have on file is from June 1st, 2021, and the only person on there that is eligible to do anything is Mrs. Barney. Other than that, everybody else there's nobody else that's still here that's on that sheet. So I have the new one here for everybody to sign and get that turned back in so we can be up to date with that. Item 3, we found that there are some duplex homes in Lawrence that for some reason only one site T for connection was set during construction. To correct this, in some instances, it would require digging up the brand new pavement, and there would be other additional expenses that we would incur. The solution devised to rectify this issue, I attached it with my report. What we'll do is we'll just put a Y on the back of 6-inch Y connection on the back. There'll still be 2 separate laterals, but we'll use a common site T. It's cost effective, and Dave from MDIA was gracious enough to draw something up as a revised to show what we'll do in those instances. I spoke about this with Larry and Ramel. Larry was in agreement. He talked to Kevin. That seemed to be the best solution, not to incur any more cost. Other than that, Shanna reported we're moving forward with connections, inspections. There's questions coming in. We are holding some permits because they didn't have drawings, or what they're showing me on the drawings doesn't look like it may work. So we just want more information because we want to make sure that whatever the residents are doing here, it's properly tied in to our system, meeting the specifications. But we also don't want to have the residents have any issues if it's not done properly. So if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to entertain them.
Yeah, if there's a challenge with one of these connections and it causes a backup, say you have somebody that caused a backup and the other one's innocent of a backup, like how are we going to deal with that? Because there's going to be a blame game. You did this, I did that. So is there a way to fix this now? Like in the event that this happens, you share the cost. Like how do you propose we deal with that?
You're referring to when there'd be a duplex where they share?
Yeah, if a duplex, if one of the, if party A causes a problem at the connection and it needs to be dug up, party B didn't do anything, how do we handle that if there's a problem?
Generally, the issue is between the two people that share the common line. If there was an allegation that there was if I'm reading it correct, if there was an allegation that there was a backup and it was our fault, if it was something that we did that was the problem, typically, from a liability standpoint, we get what would be like the old one bite rule, that we're not responsible unless we had prior notice. Okay, like that for the old one bite rule for dogs. If you didn't know your dog bit, then you weren't responsible for the first bite. Similarly, if there was a backup caused by us, if there was a backup that we determined that was caused by one of them, not us, because of whatever they did, that would typically be between the two of them,
Okay.
not us.
Right.
We would stay away from that issue. I guess where it gets a little complicated is that if it's a combination, if they say it's us, is that what you mean? Like they say
I mean,
it's-
I mean, they may say that, why didn't you provide 2 tie-in points, and why am I connected to somebody else's system? Then they caused a problem, and I guess the question is, did the contract documents have two tie-ins required for the
Oh,
duplex?
different,
Was-
okay.
So then all of a sudden they say that it's our fault because we didn't provide 2 tie-in points because it's a duplex.
Yeah.
Therefore, they're gonna blame us
Then,
for it.
and rightly so, if we were supposed to set up 2 connecting points and we didn't, and we only set up 1 connecting point. See, if they,
Did that happen?
I don't think so,
Did the
right?
drawings indicate 2 connections?
Oh, I
for
don't
it?
know about that.
I'm asking the engineers.
Oh, sorry.
No, these were, the contract drawings did not have at these locations. They had 1 lateral shown because they thought, the previous engineer thought these were.
Okay.
But the common lateral portion would be authority owned. It's to the site T. Then it'd be individual laterals past that. So the authority, the only thing that would be shared would actually be owned by the authority.
Makes sense. You okay with that? Okay.
And another thing on that,
owned from the,
Yeah,
yeah,
they own the individual parts,
right,
but when it joins, it's ours.
right. But they can't blame us because we didn't give them an individual tie-in point. I guess that's the question I'm asking. We're asking 2 people to share one tie-in. They can't say that's our fault.
correct. And
And
what,
it's the same thing when they go into the lateral. If we had a backup in the lateral, it's,
Okay, no,
It's-
you're not concerned about it? I'm okay with it.
yeah, I think we're good. I think,
Okay.
because in this case, we only had the 1. We didn't set it up, we didn't contract it to be 2,
Right.
and then not expect 2 to tie. If it's a common one and we set it up as 1,
Right.
that's their private issue.
Right. Because I guess sometimes it's difficult for us to understand if it's a duplex that's a true, like how it's split, because it could be one ownership.
Yeah.
That's a, one owner, so I can understand how it could happen. So, okay.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Yep.
Thanks.
But what it looks like on that, Brad, is that what happened was when this was set up and they were looking through the county records, the one in particular, it only shows up on the county records as a single family, like it was converted over. That's why the solution was to do the 6-inch Y instead of a 4-inch Y. That'll give it some more volume there. And then I also suggested a clean out there at the end this way on each one of those individual laterals. This way, if there is a problem, each individual homeowner can get in there and do whatever they needed to do.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good question, Brad. Okay. Anything else there, Mike?
That's it.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve signing the certificate of incumbency for Wilmington Trust?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Rogers?
Aye.
Mr. Roach?
Aye.
Mrs. Barney?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
All right.
Do I hear a motion to approve signing of Steeltown Residential Development Pre-Development Agreement?
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
it.
Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Rogers?
Aye.
Mr. Roach?
Aye.
Mrs. Barney?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
All right.
Thank you. Review of correspondence.
Nope, none.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. Under committee reports, I think we've covered that. Under solicitor's report, any other comments for any of our committees? All right. Do I hear a motion to approve payment of expenses, transfer of funds, et cetera, for expenses, invoices, payroll tax, et
I'll
cetera?
make that motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Rogers?
Aye.
Mr. Roach?
Aye.
Mrs. Barney?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
All right.
No one's present, so no comments from the floor. All
How about a
right.
comment from the board?
Go right ahead.
Mike, as we were walking in, the resident along O'Hara Road, his name is Daniel Wingard, and he has reached out to the board of supervisors that if it was a possibility to get the sewerage from his side of the road across to Fieldstone Road. his address is 132 O'Hara Road. And if you're going up from 980, that's on the right-hand side.
Okay.
And those homes are pretty far apart, and I know that all those homes along there have septic systems. And, but this Daniel Wingard was wanting to know if it was possible.
I think I've spoken to him before. We had looked at it, and it was the location, but I'll revisit it again. And it comes and goes. It's been mentioned here and there. It comes up, goes away, comes back up. But I'll take a look at it again and get you an answer on what's going on there. See how
Okay.
far away it is, if it's even feasible, because it's going to be one of those things you're going to have to see elevations, where the sewer line is, you know, if it can be gravity, if, you know, how many feet away it's going to be, because that's all things that'll be in there. You know, if there's more than one person, because historically, if somebody wants sewage, it's on them to extend the sewer line. And, you know, it would be one of those things, if there's other residents in that area that would want sewage, that they could all go together, it would help, you know, reduce the cost of the project. But like I said, there's many factors that we have to look at, but I'll take a look at it.
Okay, I'm not sure how many homes along O'Hara Road on the right-hand side going up, but I know there's a couple, maybe 3, 4 of them, that they're actually septic systems.
No, we can take a look at it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you. I'd like to make a motion for executive session for personnel matters and litigation.
Excuse me, property acquisition, if you could.
Property acquisition.
Property acquisition.
Okay. Litigation and other personnel matters. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Rogers?
Aye.
Mr. Roach?
Aye.
Mrs. Barney?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
7 PM going into executive session. We could have walked around that day. No worries.
Gotta tell him it wouldn't surprise me if there's gonna be 4. Okay.
How's your knee?
Good. Getting better.
Getting better every day.
Every day.
Good for you.
Coming out of executive session at 7:56. We have one more motion. Do I hear a motion to approve hiring Kirk Munger as part-time wastewater treatment plant laborer pending results of drug test and pre-employment physical?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Barnes?
Aye.
Mrs. Rogers?
Aye.
Mr. Roach?
Aye.
Mrs. Barney?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
And now he's